Hi there, welcome to my review of VoxDucker from United Plugins. United Plugins have been kind enough to give me a free copy of this plugin for this review. And I do want to be very clear, that is in no way a guarantee of a positive review, as you will know if you saw the last plugin provided by United Plugins that I reviewed. It did not come off well in the review. What I will say right now in advance is this plugin comes off very, very well indeed. And I, if you want to skip past right to the end right now, am going to recommend it, to be blunt. Let's pull up the plugin in Reaper. Okay, so this is the Reaper project I have set up for the purpose of demoing the plugin. The plugin itself is quite simple. It allows you to keep or remove the side audio in mid-side processing. It allows you to control the depth, which is pretty much the ratio at which the ducking is applied. It lets you control the attack between 10 and 1,000 milliseconds. It does not go faster than 10, which is a bit unusual. And it also has a release between 100 and 5,000 milliseconds, which again, I'm surprised it doesn't go shorter, but that's by the by. It has look ahead all the way up to a second if wanted, but that is customizable on a millisecond basis. A customizable threshold, as you would expect, and smoothness, which applies particularly for multiband and spectral ducking. Now, as you can see up here, there are three types of ducking that the plugin can do. It can do broadband ducking, where it effectively acts like a sidechained compressor and will duck all of the audio. Multiband, which is the equivalent of using a sidechained dynamic compressor or a dynamic EQ, in which case it only ducks the part of the audio where there is conflict, and there are many other plugins that will do similar kinds of things. Or the thing that I find most interesting, which is spectral ducking, which is where it's literally only quietening down the audio that exactly overlaps with the audio coming in on the sidechain. So it's meant to be the most subtle way of listening to a ducked audio as possible. So to make it clearer exactly what's going on, I have picked part of the audio from my narrative reel, albeit slightly balanced differently to make it a bit more obvious what's going on. So let me start by just playing this through so you can hear what it's like with absolutely no ducking going on at all. At Tesco, every day begins the same way, with people. In store, behind the wheel, at a desk, or in a boardroom. We work together towards a shared purpose. To help customers, communities, and each other. Whatever your role, this is where that purpose starts. With you. Now, as you will note, because of the changes I have made, there is a small problem in the audio here. Whatever your role, this is kind of fades out and fades in. That obviously is controlled by kind of micro level adjustments of gain riding in my actual reel. So that's what it sounds without. You're going to hear that again at the start of each of these tests. So the first third of the spot is going to play with the unchanged unducked audio. Then the second part is going to play against the plugin that I'm testing against. And then the third part is going to play using VoxDucker, configured to be similar, if not identical, to the plugin in question. So the first test I want to do is the one that shows last on the timeline, and that is comparing ReaComp, that's Reaper's built-in compressor, against VoxDucker, optimized in order to be just a broadband ducking. I've configured ReaComp like this: threshold of -22, attack 3, release 300, ratio I have ended up just under 10, and with a knee size of 8.4. That gives a cut of about, let's just check, we work together, about -13 at its highest. For VoxDucker, what I've done there is the threshold is ended up at, sorry, let me let me correct that back to where it was meant to be. The threshold is also at minus 22. I've got look ahead down to 1 millisecond. Smoothing is reduced down to about 30. And we make sure that we keep the attack down as short as it will go, 10, because we can't hit 3, and release the same at 300, or at least close enough. We want to make sure there's the similar amount of ducking at its maximum, so that is not enough.
Whatever your role.
So honestly, with a threshold there, we can't actually get quite the same as if we had the ratio of 10 in ReaComp. So this is as close as we're going to get with depth at maximum. So let's have a listen to this.
At Tesco, every day begins the same way. With people. In store, behind the wheel, at a desk, or in a boardroom. We work together towards a shared purpose. To help customers, communities, and each other. Whatever your role, this is where that purpose starts. With you.
So as you can really hear there, with ReaComp, there's fairly bad kind of fading in and out as the ducking occurs. It's not as bad with VoxDucker, but again, at the maximum depth, we're not actually getting the same sort of ratio. So it performed as well as ReaComp, if not slightly better. But honestly, if you're trying to duck audio, I don't recommend doing broadband ducking anyway. I wanted to play that just so you've kind of got the baseline against which we are comparing the other methods. So the second test I want to play is looking at multiband ducking. For this, I have used the well-known plugin Trackspacer from Waves Factory. I've tried to configure it to be as close as possible. It's not got equitable plugins, so I've configured it to mid-side. I've got attack at 4.27, release at 30, sidechain off, otherwise we would hear too much of the original audio. And for the amount, I've ended up at 27.3, and that gives a duct amount of about
desk or in a boardroom
at about minus 36, which is pretty high, to be honest. Maybe let's actually drop this down a little bit more. For VoxDucker, in this case, I've got smoothness up high, look ahead down low. The threshold is at minus 23, and I've got attack as quick as it will go, again, because I can't get it down to that 4.67, and I've got release as quick as it will go, because I can't get down to that 30 release that we've got in Trackspacer. To get a similar amount of ducking,
whatever your role,
I've had, once again, to put the depth up to maximum or close enough. Let's have a listen to that.
At Tesco, every day begins the same way. With people. In store, behind the wheel, at a desk, or in a boardroom. We work together towards a shared purpose. To help customers, communities, and each other. Whatever your role, this is where that purpose starts. With you.
So as you could hear there, there is still pumping. As there was with the broadband compression for the ducking, but there is much less pumping, despite the fact that we are getting a similar decibel reduction, and that's because it is more natural sounding. Now, I know a lot of people use Trackspacer. I'm not a particular fan of it because I think that if you want quite a strong effect, you are going to get audible pumping from the compression. And that's why I'm such a fan of spectral compression. Now, I will note, since I got SmartComp 2, SmartComp 3 has come out. I have SmartComp 3 as well. I've done a video reviewing it, but SmartComp 2 has one functionality that SmartComp 3 doesn't. Actually got more than one, but the one I'm particularly interested in is the ability to do split out the center channel from the other channels by forcing it into 6-channel mode. As a result, I've got a ratio of 1.5 here, but I've got a ratio of 3.9 here, although I've got the same threshold in both cases. And what that actually means is that when you play it,
the wheel, at a desk or in a boardroom,
you have a tiny amount of compression going on in most of the audio, and then all the compression is happening.
We work together towards a
right in the center of the audio where it conflicts the most. Because this works spectrally, I've also got spectral ducking set to maximum here so that it focuses just on the exact areas that there are overlaps in the audio. Similarly, that's how I've configured VoxDucker 2. In this case, I found it sounded more natural if I kept some of the side audio. I've kept the threshold at the same level that it is in SmartComp, moved look ahead to 12 milliseconds as that's the point at which I felt I got the best sound. I dropped attack to be exactly the same as it is in SmartComp 2, so 55 milliseconds, and because SmartComp 2 is set to auto-release and I didn't really want to risk playing around with it, I've just left release at the default. The last thing I've done is slightly increase the smoothness from 0. I think it's probably more accurately reflecting what's going on in SmartComp if I drop the smoothness to 0, but I felt that it sounded at its best at these levels. And again, if we do this,
whatever your role, this is where that purpose starts.
We're getting drops of about 7, 8. If we had this bit going through it, it would be at a much lower level, possibly even hitting the same sort of minus 19. Now let's have a listen to this.
At Tesco, every day begins the same way, with people. In store, behind the wheel, at a desk, or in a boardroom. We work together towards a shared purpose, to help customers, communities, and each other. Whatever your role, this is where that purpose starts, with you.
And I think both of those sound fantastic. But the thing is, I'm comparing there against SmartComp 2, which isn't available anymore. You don't get the same lovely effect on SmartComp 3. And because of that, I'm ecstatic to have been given a copy of VoxDucker, because it's actually doing what SmartComp 2 did well, that SmartComp 3 doesn't do as well. And for me, this is my new ducking plugin. I'm excited by this. I can wholeheartedly recommend the plugin. There is a link in the description. I can't remember off the top of my head if it's an affiliate link or not. It's entirely plausible that I do not get any cut from the purchase, or I might, if it's from Plugin Boutique, that means I do get a cut. If it's not from Plugin Boutique, it means I don't. That's how to tell if you look in the description now. So overall conclusions, I'm not a fan of VoxDucker in the broadband or multiband compression modes, but then I'm not a fan of any form of multiband or broadband compression for ducking purposes. What I am a fan of is spectral ducking, and both SmartComp 2, unavailable now, but from Sonible, and superseded now by SmartComp 3, which I do not like as much for this purpose. But VoxDucker does what SmartComp 2 did just as well. And I am very, very happy, therefore, to recommend VoxDucker wholeheartedly. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this review video. It's only, I think, the third or fourth plugin review video I've done, and it is the first of many, many, many that I've got coming out over the next 4 months or so. So do leave me a comment if you enjoy this sort of video, and if you've got recommendations or plugins you want me to particularly look at, let me know. I may well have already scheduled those plugins in, but if not, I will do my best to schedule them in. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.